I have the most progressive record of anybody running for the United States, anybody who would run. I didn't mean. With anybody who would run.
Little correction there from Senator Joe Biden last night in Delaware. We're joined now by the man who holds his old Senate seat, Senator Chris Coons of Delaware. And Senator, I know you were there last night. So was that really a Freudian slip, or did Vice President Biden know exactly what he was doing?
Well, I'm very optimistic that Joe Biden will soon formally announce his campaign for the presidency. When he said last night to a cheering crowd of Democrats in Dover, Delaware, that he had the most progressive record of anyone running or who might run, what I think he was referring to was the very real record of the Obama-Biden administration of tackling climate change, of advancing rights for the LGBTQ community, of reining in Wall Street, and of enacting the broadest expansion of access to health care of any administration in our lifetimes. That's the sort of real progressive record of accomplishment that Joe Biden could run on, and I hope will run on.
That's part of the record right there. But as you know, he's also part of what comes with long experience in politics is a long record to attack. And the vice president is also going to come under pressure on issues like Anita Hill, the crime bill, even going back to busing and segregation in the 70s. How does he handle that?
Well, I think first, Joe Biden's going to run a very forward-looking and optimistic campaign where he tries to heal the divisions in our country. One of the most despicable things about President Trump's campaign and his actions as president has been the ways in which he has seen the divisions in our country and tried to crack them open more widely for his own partisan political advantage. Joe Biden won't do that. He will see the divisions in our country and inspire us to heal them, to work together across them, and move us into a better future as a country for all of us. There are things that he was involved in or said or voted for 25 or 30 or 40 years ago that I expect he will get asked about on the trail. But he has a real and solid record of stepping forward and being a champion for civil rights, for women's rights, for LGBTQ rights. And I think on the whole, the Democratic Party primary electorate will be very satisfied with Joe Biden's record and with his vision for our country.
And that's one of the big questions out there. You talk about healing divisions in the country, but to have the chance to do that, he first has to bridge these divides in the Democratic Party. And you already see the White House President Trump ready to attack the Democrats as socialists over issues like the Green New Deal and Medicare for all. How does the vice president bridge that divide inside the party?
Well, I think Joe Biden has a record that allows him to say that making big and bold progressive promises on the campaign trail is one thing. Having a real record of actually delivering on those things is quite another. Real leadership is actually enacting legislation that advances access to health care, that reins in Wall Street. And Joe Biden has a record as the vice president in the Obama-Biden administration that allows him to speak to that. I do think he'll also inspire a new and younger generation of political activists because Joe Biden's life history, his whole story, is about getting up when life has knocked him down, about connecting with working families of all backgrounds across America, and of being a champion for civil rights, civil liberties, inclusion, and justice in his decades in public leadership.
Well, it sounds like you're ready for him to go. I also want to ask you something about your seat on the Senate Judiciary Committee. We saw the House Speaker Nancy Pelosi this week come out with those comments on impeachment. I want to show the audience right now. Impeachment is so divisive for the country that unless there's something so compelling and overwhelming and bipartisan, I don't think we should go down that path because it divides the country, and he's just not worth it. Some Democrats have looked at that and said she set the bar too high. Your response?
Well, we haven't seen yet the outcome of the Mueller investigation, and I think the first thing we need to do is to make sure that the Mueller report is protected and that it is promptly shared in full with the relevant committees of Congress. There may, of course, be some work product in that report that should be protected because it's either classified, this is, after all, a national security investigation, or because it might interfere with other ongoing investigations into the Trump organization or the Trump campaign in the Southern District of New York and elsewhere. But I think once the Mueller report is completed, is reported, we can reach that judgment at that point. I agree that impeachment means overturning the results of an election. So it's something we should approach with caution and with balance. There's plenty of other things about the Trump administration and its activities that are worthy of investigation by the House. And I think Speaker Pelosi is encouraging a measured and focused approach by the Democratic majority in the House.
It's hard to know what's going on with the release of a potential Mueller report. We saw the House vote 420 to nothing. And the president had that tweet yesterday where he said he was encouraging the House members to vote for that, saying makes us all look good and doesn't matter, play along with the game. Yet your chairman, Republican Lindsey Graham, has blocked consideration of that measure in the Senate. So what is going on here? What can you do if indeed the Mueller report is not released to the relevant committees in Congress?
Well, the ability to compel the release of that report will lie really in the House Democratic caucus in the in the other chamber. I've been very disappointed at the ways in which the Republican majority in the Senate did not move forward with a thorough investigation on the Judiciary Committee in the last Congress. That's our responsibility. We've got clear allegations in public of obstruction of justice that the Senate Judiciary Committee should have thoroughly investigated, but it ground to a halt in partisan bickering between the former chairman and ranking member. The Senate Intelligence Committee has been able to make real progress, but of course its work product is classified, so the general public is not well informed about what's been going on in the Intelligence Committee.
Finally, and before you go, the president also tweeting this morning, the second time in a couple of days, attacks on your former colleague, Senator John McCain, the late Senator John McCain. This morning's tweet suggesting that Senator McCain turned over the Steele dossier to the FBI before the election. As far as we can tell, that is not true. It wasn't turned over by Senator McCain into December. But now, for the second time, President Trump continues to go after Senator McCain. Your reaction?
I've long thought that his personal and direct attacks on Senator McCain was one of the most detestable things about President Trump's conduct as a candidate. Senator McCain conveyed that report out of a sense of duty, and he is someone who lived his entire life with a sense of honor and duty to our country. And I frankly think the president's continued attacks on now late Senator John McCain is something that's regrettable and for which he should apologize.
Senator Coons, thanks for your time this morning.
Thank you, George.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.